evening, everybody, and welcome to an edition of the Professor and the Pupil, or should I say pupils? Who knows? Who cares? Whatever. That's what we do every Monday night. Stephen Reichel are back, and we have a couple of other guests with us. Paul Perry, the Argentine gringo's back in the house. Welcome back, Mr. Argentine.
Cool, nice to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, we're going to have some Philly flavor tonight between the real Philadelphia guy, Stephen, and the guy that once upon a time resided there before he went down, south. And Eddie Prather is back in the house as well. He's our typical. He comes on Monday nights. He's fit in very nicely with his group, so he's come back every Monday night, Eddie. So there
Thanks
you
for
go.
having me back on.
You're welcome. Well, we have a lot to talk about Philadelphia-wise, and we also have a lot to talk about otherwise as well. So with that said, let's get this bad boy started. We're gonna make Paul feel at home with the first one, okay? Because it is in his backyard. Argentina is the country with the most requested amount of tickets. Get this, for the FIFA 2026 World Cup behind the USA, Canada, and Mexico. There's 1.5 million requests in just 24 hours. Tell you what, Paul, they like soccer down there, don't they?
Oh, that's all they do is play soccer, man. It's on
Right.
TV. It's all they play nonstop. It's always soccer season down here, man. Always soccer season. It never ends.
So,
Yeah.
so who's your favorite player down there that you've always liked down there?
I honestly I don't follow soccer that much, so really can't say because since they're always playing, it's always the same. You know, it's
Okay.
like never. It's always soccer season. So they don't never take a break. So they're always playing. But I'm a Racing fan.
Okay.
I'm a Racing fan. So if that means anything, and the British, I just want to say that the British brought soccer down here, and most of the clubs have their names are in English: River Plate, Racing, Newell's Old Boys, and the British and the Irish brought soccer down here. So, little trivia for you.
Stephen, what's your take on how popular the FIFA World Cup is down there?
I already said it. When you get outside of the United States, the sports that dominates is soccer. It doesn't matter if it's FIFA, Olympic, whatever. When you leave the United States, soccer is now the number one sport across the world. It's not a question. It's not a competition. We talked about that when we were talking about in payouts earlier this summer, looking at top athletes in the world. Well, 8 of them are professional soccer athletes. So I'm not surprised how fast the tickets go. Regardless of where it's going to, regardless where it's going to be played at, if it's over in Europe, if it's in South America, it does not matter. It does not matter. It's gonna be like the hot, your hottest thing being sold here in the United States. That's what's going to be going. What's going sports wise, but it's going to be 3 times as heavy. So we'll say
Well, okay, Eddie.
It's just it's I can understand why it's so popular around the world. It's a sport that doesn't cost an arm and a leg for the young kids to play. If they can just get a soccer ball and just go out there and play, it helps that, and it probably helps that most of the other countries don't have any other sports besides soccer to play. So the United States, we have so many other sports that it's hard to get our better athletes to play soccer.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the reality is we know it's a worldwide sport, and that's why Brazilians go ahead and eat it up alive. I have a Brazilian neighbor that lives right next to me and doesn't mind displaying his Brazilian flag. Of course, he only can do it when soccer's going on. More power to him. That's a sport, excuse me, that he was raised with, and I completely get that. All right, now this question is strictly for Paul. Okay, Stephen, we're going to address this tomorrow on Inside the Pigskin. And you know what? You can even chime in on this one too, Eddie. How is Martin Gramatica viewed in Argentina since that's where he's from, obviously knows one of the better kickers ever to play the game. Played with the Tampa Bay Bucks and had a good career in the NFL.
Yo, Grammatica, you mean he was he made history here. It's just like Ginobili in basketball.
Right.
Uh, he was he was a soccer player. I think he went to college, and they saw him kick the ball, and they were like, "Hey, why don't you kick a football?" And that's how he started.
Right.
Martin Gramatica, he's a legend down here, and he was a good kicker. And he played. I think he played. Didn't he play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, he
Who
did.
did he play for?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He played for the Bucks. Yeah, I'm getting old, but my memory still serves me. And yeah, and I wanted to just mention Eddie. Yeah, you're right. I mean, all you really need is a soccer ball, and kids here they'll roll up a piece of paper. They'll play soccer with anything, and you can play it anywhere. And that's all you really need. As the difference with baseball, you need a glove, you need bats, you need balls. You know, balls get lost, gloves break, bats break. Not to mention American football. You know, you need pads and a helmet and all that stuff. And soccer is a pretty simple sport. You know, here they call it football. And they get mad when you call it soccer or something like that because they always say why is football, American football, called football if they don't play with their feet? And I'm like, well, I don't know, man. They also play rugby here, but you don't see much of it's it's not as popular as soccer or football. But yeah, Martin Gramatica, he was a stud.
And they spell football out there Futbol just in case. So
Yeah,
football.
yeah.
So there you go. All right, Eddie, I'll let you talk about it, Stephen. You and I and the rest of the team will talk about it tomorrow about the Grammaticas as well as the family of kickers. Okay, go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, Martin was a great kicker, and he had his brother. I forget his brother's name, but his brother was a pretty good kicker too. I think Martin has a son that's playing college football right now as a place kicker. He was a heck of a kicker. Just too bad he had that real bad injury.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, you know what, Eddie?
I'm surprised there's not more Argentine kickers playing football because
Yeah,
they know how to kick a ball.
great minds think alike, Paul. Same thing. All right, you didn't have a chance to comment on this on the show, but this is a solo for you. Well, give me your thoughts about the passing of Flyers legend Bernie Perrant. Obviously, you enjoyed the time that he was there, and rightfully so. His legend in Philly, as Stephen has pointed out numerous times on our shows, is what it is. But any thoughts about Bernie Perrant, Paul?
Oh yeah, Bernie Perrant. Well, I remember him from I was a kid when he dominated, and I absolutely nothing but respect for Bernie Perrant. He was one of the great ones. It was without a doubt, and Bernie Perrant, that whole squad with Bobby Clark and Reggie Leach and all those great players. So
Yeah, the Broad Street Bullies definitely, for sure, went out there
the Broad Street Bullies, yeah.
they're definitely an iconic brand. Okay, so what we're going to do now, Stephen, is you're obviously the authority on boxing. So 93-year-old Don King has ordered and issued a cease and desist to TKO and Sela over the September 11th Michael Hunter and Gerald Miller fight, claiming he holds exclusive rights to Hunter. So can you give us an update on this story, Stephen?
That bastard's still alive?
Stephen. Well,
Don King's still alive? I can't believe it.
yeah, actually, he is still alive. Stephen, you with me?
I think he froze. Pete
Yeah, I
froze?
think he did.
He froze up there for a second. Everything was skipping, so I don't know if it was
All right.
my internet, your internet.
All right. Well, anyways, let me go over everything again. 93-year-old Don King is ordered and issued a cease and desist order and excuse me, to TKO Seal over the September 11th fight, Michael Hunter and Gerald Miller. The fight obviously claiming he holds the exclusive rights to Hunter. So, do you have any updates on this story?
I mean, I don't know why Don's putting the cease and desist order on TKO. I don't see where he has any grounds to unless the fighters that are fighting under TKO's banner are actually contracted to him is the only logical thing I would say why there was a cease and desist order with Don King Promotions and TKO Boxing, or however you want to refer to that organization there, Zuffa Boxing, whatever. Um, yeah, we'll see how that materializes. I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but definitely interesting to seeing Don King into ramifications with TKO Boxing.
Yeah, he seems to be in a fight with everybody anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. A 93-year-old, I got to give the guy credit. Those guys fun. Believe it or not, here in Deerfield Beach, Florida, his headquarters is there, and you can see off I-95 only in America. It's not too far away. Never got in there, never spoke to Don King, but he's in my backyard, so I'd be prepared for anything with this guy. Hey, do you want to add anything to this, Eddie?
I guess it's true. Do you know that saying that cockroaches live forever? I guess Don King is a living proof of that. I have no respect for Don King as a person, but he did to Mike Tyson. He basically ruined Tyson when Tyson was in his prime.
He ruined a bunch of boxers during that time. People don't know a lot about, but I'm sure at one time Don was a great promoter, great businessman, but you know he absolutely became the cockroach that wouldn't die, and people wanted him to die. He just had to keep sucking the life out of the sport as long as he could. You know, he played a part into the downfall of Tommy Morrison too.
Yeah, no, that was sad. And I know, Stephen, you're working on some things with Tommy Morrison as well. So it's only a prelude of what you're going to be working on down the line for sure. All right, I have one more
That's
topic.
the whole plan, my friend.
They have a saying here in Argentina. It's called "Yerba mala nunca muere," because here, they drink mate. They drink this herb. They put it in a little, this little container, and they got a straw, and and they put herb in there, and then they suck that stuff, and they have an expression: "Yerba mala, bad herb never dies." You know what I'm saying? Because the cheaper the herb, the longer it lasts. And it's like you said, Eddie. Cockroaches never die. It's like, yeah, and so Don King is like bad herb. Just
That's interesting stuff from you guys. Look at this
Scott,
guy.
Scott, I think that remember Rocky Five? I think they based the character of that crooked promoter off Don King in Rocky Five.
Yeah.
Rocky
Yeah,
Five.
and I started.
Okay.
I hated when he did to Tyson. That was like you said, that was wrong. Tyson had it all, and then got mixed up with Don King. But hey, he's business is business.
Well, these things tend to take a while. And obviously, he went out there, and regardless of the fact that he's 93, he's going to show his true colors and the way he does things, even in a situation like this at 93. So, one other thing we're going to get to Philadelphia, and then we're going to take it the rest of the way with the Philadelphia Phillies. Are a big story, anyhow. The Philadelphia Eagles spent extra time in sauna to prepare for their Tampa Bay game. They ended up winning that game because they forecasted 104 degrees on the horizon. Stephen, I'll let you talk about this one. What are your thoughts about how the Eagles managed to play things out in Tampa?
Well, I mean, if you know you're going to be doing in like an extreme weather situation, you should have your body prepared for that. Over the last few years, I guess the Eagles felt like they didn't prepare their players properly. It's like the same thing when you have a fighter, they're going to go fight, in elevation out in Denver or out in New Mexico, something like that, to send the fighter out there a week or so beforehand, so their body gets acclimated to the environment. It's no, I mean, it's harder to do when every week you're in a different city where we're talking baseball, basketball, whatever. But if you're able to kind of get down there a few days earlier and expose yourself to those elements, your body isn't going through, this shock of dealing with this new thing. That's why I'm glad when you look at it the last few years when they've sent us down. It wasn't like we were sitting up here in December, nice and cold in Philadelphia, and then going down there to Tampa and dealing with this. You'd want to get it early in the season, so you're already still more or less acclimated to that excessive heat. You only really find that in you know down there in Florida. Maybe Arizona sometimes that gets temperatures that high. The last time we had a game that I remember that high was the pickle juice game. The 2000 opening day. Eagles went into Dallas Stadium and they had I think it was like 105 on the turf that day. Eagles wound up putting a beating on the Cowboys that day. Afterward, they used pickle juice to kind of deal with the heat instead of having water or Gatorade or whatever. So like them going down there using saunas, doing whatever isn't anything off putting for me. It's I think a lot of teams, if you're going to be dealing with certain elements your team is not more or less accustomed to playing to on a consistent basis. That's why you have these $1 billion sports franchises, because you're able to kind of get your guys brought out there, taken care of, and expose them to those elements that they're going to be simulating when they play on Saturday, on Sunday, on Thursday, how whatever day it happens to fall on. So I think it's a smart move for them, and it wound up paying off. Obviously, getting their fourth win down there, getting their, I think that's the second time they've beaten them in the last 4 years. So,
Yeah.
obviously it's a game they wanted. They put everything out together to get it. Unfortunately, fall a little short yesterday trying to get the 5-0, but that's a argument for another day.
Yeah, like tomorrow. So yeah, shrewd and smart are the two words that describe what they ended up doing there. So yeah, we'll talk about that Eagles and Broncos game tomorrow on Inside the Pigskin. Any thoughts about that strategy, Paul? You're down in Argentina. I mean, that was pretty interesting how they went down to Tampa and prepared to Rosana.
Well, here a lot, in football, in soccer, sometimes these Argentine teams have to play in Bolivia, which is 12,000 feet above sea level.
Really?
So what the teams do is they get there beforehand, and it's hard to breathe at 12,000 feet above sea level. And these Argentines were at ground level, so it's really hard to breathe. And these guys, they're phenomenal athletes. They're in great shape. Actually, they say that the average soccer player's heart is bigger than the average player because they spend so much time running. I mean, they don't stop. And imagine running when the air is thinner and you can't breathe. And some of them, but I think they chew coca leaves. That's what they do. I think that they'll probably do something, but they like Steven said, they gotta acclimate and get used to this. It takes a while to get used to being at 12,000 feet. It's high up there, man. So you gotta get used to your playing conditions.
Cocoa
so I know
leaves.
that
That's
from
interesting.
from these soccer players. They got to play up there. It's and nobody wants to play in Bolivia, man. And then whenever these teams got to travel to Bolivia, they're like, "Oh God, it's a nightmare for them because you can't breathe."
And you bring a really interesting perspective to this show, Paul, like no other. We're going to have to bring you on more often, man.
Thanks, man.
Now, what do you think, Steve? Do you think P Squared deserves more opportunities? I like this guy. There's a reason why the Argentine gringo got on the first time. Now we got to get him out of there and we're going to bring him
That's
on
the
once in a
first I've
while.
heard definitely the first I've heard tea leaves being used to acclimate that elevation. So
Yeah, the Bolivians
definitely
are always chewing
have to
coca
ask
leaves. Yeah, Yeah,
Well,
they're
did you
always
say
chewing coca leaves, man.
I got to ask
Yeah.
you the fighters I know because I know a lot. There's a lot of guys they'll go to Albuquerque for a month or two before they go to their flight because they know they're already at elevation there to kind of help help the oxygen levels, help their blood levels kind of already acclimate to that those type of environments. So it's I got to ask him about cocoa leaves though.
Cocoa leaves. That's new. Great stuff, Paul. You'll be
Yeah.
coming back before you know it. Don't worry.
Well, that's what
That's
they
what's
that's
good
what they
about
make.
what's
The,
next.
that's what they make the blow out of, man. They get those coca leaves. That's basically You can buy them here. You can go to a market and buy a bag of coca leaves, and chew
Do
on
you?
them. They'll hit.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Do you eat those? Do you chew them? Do you smell them? What do you do with cocoa?
No,
leaves?
you chew them. It's like it's personally, I mean, it wires you out. It's just like the mate, that herb they drink here. It just
Well,
wires
don't tell
you
that
out.
to my wife. She won't let me get cocoa leaves after what you just said.
But they use that to adjust to the elevation.
Yeah,
You can start a
tell
little
her
business.
about.
I'll export some coca leaves to you guys.
So Candy, come on the show for a minute, real quick, okay? Do you think in a million years, because you're always on Amazon, right? You think I should go out there and get some cocoa leaves, or you're probably going to ban that from my regimen here? All right, Candy, let me.
Cocoa leaves probably don't have any sugar in them, so they're probably not sweet.
They're healthy.
I was gonna say they're
Cocoa
probably
leaves. All
healthy.
right, let's see if we can get her on. So is that something I can have, Candy? Because you're going to have to go out there and check it out on Amazon. And now
I
you got
have
me
to check
intrigued.
it out now, huh?
Yeah, well, that's all right. She's my crack researcher, and she handles all this good stuff. Cocoa leaves and me, they'll put Diet Mountain Dew out of business if I have a few of those before we show. Steven is nodding his head. Oh my God, I have to deal with this guy how many times a week? And now you stick some cocoa leaves that this guy can chew. Oh my God, that's what happens. All right, well that's Candy's input. All right, Eddie, we need to take it out of all this stuff. Cocoa leaves, people. I'm ready. She'll be looking it up. That's why she jumped on camera.
I'm learning a lot of interesting things. Pickle juice
Yeah.
for hot weather, cocoa leaves for high places.
That's why I love doing these shows. I learn a lot too. All right, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go to a station break. Candy, get back on here. We'll do it. And then the rest of the way, we're going to take you all the way through the Phillies. So a lot of you Phillies fans are out there. Please stay with us. Game 2 of the NLDS is tonight. And they will take
Not right
on
now.
yeah, well, don't, that's okay. We'll give updates. I want to get to these agenda. Also coming up afterwards, we have 108 Stitches baseball talk as well around 8:45 Eastern time. So hope you can join us. All right, Candy.
Okay, South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth Morganrod, the one that wants to try cocoa leaves. Yes, anyways, he's been in the media business for over 40 plus years, and he's wrote a book about that experience and how it has changed over the years. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website that has a plethora of great content, so go check it out. www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is so much information, so much good articles, good writings. Just go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor any one of our shows, call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right, now this topic goes into the combat sports department. What do you think I mean by this? All right, people, here we go. Bryce Harper and Jonathan Papelbon actually had an argument on September 27, 2015 in the Washington Nationals dugout. It happened to be in the 8th inning of a tie game against the Phillies. I mean, let me tell you, if you watch that tape there, these guys are ready to go into a boxing match, Steven. Bryce Harper and Papelbon with the Washington Nationals. What do you think about that, Steven?
That's why they wound up signing him here. it's that energy that he brought. Like some people can stand Jonathan Papelbon in Philadelphia was one of those cities, even though we signed him to be our closer for a period of time. He wore out his welcome really fast here. So when Bryce was, playing out his first contract down there in Washington, him and Papelbon got into it, and they were throwing punches in the dugout, and it's one of the reasons why I think a lot of the fans prior to Bryce coming here, uh, uh, like that in him, just not just conforming to the vet that think he knows it all, and kind of a smug veteran. All arguments aside, it's one of the reasons why he's here. I know he's been trying to get another contract extension. I just don't think the one he signed he's ever going to get an extension on that. But yeah, he is one of the faces of Major League Baseball. You can have your arguments on which handful of guys are, but one of the things like that. He's a polarizing guy, and the only thing he's missing from his cabinet right now is playoff success, and let's see what he does here over the next week.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You talk about favorite players in baseball. I'll tell you right now, Bryce Harper is easily in my top three because of the way he plays. They had to move him to first base to save himself from getting
That's
killed
what I'm saying.
out in the
Like
outfield.
his, that swag, that aura that he has, whatever you want to call that, like Bryce has that in spades, and that's
Yeah.
why, regardless of the Phillies not being successful, him never winning a World Series. Shoot, when he left when he left Washington, it was the year they wound up winning the World Series when he came here to Philadelphia. So it's the only thing that's eluded Bryce. But same thing that we've been talking about Connor McDavid. How we talked about Alexander Ovechkin up to a few years ago. He's great, but he hasn't had that championship. I hope that in the next few years, Bryce does get that to put in there. We'll see what happens with this postseason. If the bats are able to figure everything out, we'll see how the perception changes of him, especially because Ohtani won a World Series last year, right? So I think it's even more prudent for the Phillies to beat the Dodgers in this National League Divisional Series matchup.
Yeah, no question about it. I just hope that Bryce Harper doesn't become another Dan Marino because obviously he went ringless. And more importantly,
don't wish that upon him. Don't wish that upon him.
I said I hope he doesn't. I said I hope. I love Bryce Harper. Let me tell you. Let me preface what I just said. I love Bryce Harper. I love Bryce Harper. Seeing this guy play, this guy will be a first ballot Hall of Famer whether he wins a ring or not. That's how much I like this guy. And by the way, for those hockey fans that are tuning in, Connor McDavid did sign a 2-year, $25 million deal worth about $12.5 million. You talk about giving the Edmonton Oilers a hometown discount. That was definitely it. Just mention that. We won't get into it tonight. So, what are your thoughts about Bryce Harper and Jonathan Papelbon, Paul?
Like I said, I really it's hard to follow sports to keep up to date with sports because they don't show a lot of baseball here. They don't show a lot of sports. Fox Sports, now they've been showing some football but it's really hard to follow. And but I think Papelbon. I remember he was with Boston. I mean he was with Boston, wasn't he? Yeah, he played for Boston. But I just wish him the best, and I hope they do really well for the Phillies. I hope the Phillies can win a ring.
Well, when you see players get into an argument and getting their faces in a dugout, you have baseball down there. What's the first thing that enters your mind?
Well, I hope there's no bats involved. They got
Yeah, right.
They got to brawl. Let them brawl. But as long as there's no baseball bats involved, what are you gonna do? It's Philly. You got the attitude, man. Don't get in my face, no matter where it's at. Yeah.
There you go,
Well, I mean, he
people
already
down from
proved
Argentina.
that.
That's funny. Don't get the
Phillies,
baseball
Philly.
bats involved, and we're okay.
Yeah, Philly's Philly.
Yeah, that's funny.
Something in the air.
Eddie,
Uh, when I remember seeing that little brawl between Papa Bomb and Harper. It kind of reminded me of one of my earliest baseball memories as a young fan was when Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson got into it in the dugout.
yeah,
Good
there's
call.
there been
Yeah.
some interesting brawls there for sure. All right, so as we continue to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies roster, I'm just bringing it to everybody's attention now, and then we will continue the Philly theme. The starting pitchers that they have available for this series are Jesus Luzardo, Christopher Sanchez, and Ranger Suarez. The relief pitchers that they have are Tanner Banks, Walker Bueller, the former Dodger, Johan Duran, who Stephen and I have talked about a lot of times on this show, Orion Kirkering, Tim Meza, Aaron Nolan, David Robertson, Matt Strahm, Tejan Walker. The infielders that they have are Alec Bohm, Bryce Harper, Otto Kemp, Edmundo Souza, Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, and then of course the outfielders consist of Harrison Bader, Nick Castellanos, Max Kepler, Brandon Marsh, Kyle Schwarber, Weston Wilson, and your catchers are JT Realmuto, Rafael Marchand. Stephen, when you look at that roster, okay, what are your thoughts about it? Keep in mind that this team here, before I give you that roster, this is the second year that they ended up having a bye in their first round, and right now things aren't looking really good. But what are your thoughts, Stephen, of that roster?
I mean, they did it. They did what they could with what they had. You have a couple guys that I think are being overpaid right now. But you have some injuries pitching wise. You don't have your ace out there. It's arguably the third best roster in Major League Baseball right now. You got to see them do it during the postseason. I've been sitting there saying it for 2-3 months now. Love the team of the guys that are on the team. What they've built, what they've been doing. Got to do it during the postseason. We've already seen it game one. Looks like it's halfway through game two. The bats are still sleeping.
Right. Well, keep in mind.
It really boils down to this. I've already said it once. I'll say it. You're going to hate it, but until the bats show me they can stay alive and win series, playoff series, they have to show me something. So, your head topic there. Can the Phillies stay alive? I don't see it. I love them. I want them to beat the Dodgers. I want Bryce Harper to, get some of his critics out there something to chew on. But I mean, otherwise, I don't see them doing it. I see the Dodgers eventually taking them out. That's just how I feel about it. I don't think they have great offensive spurts. I said it again, one of the third best rosters. But their bats have finding a way of disappearing in big moments. Take out the World Series run from 2022 and tell me how good this team has done over the past 3 seasons in the playoffs, and it leaves a lot to be desired. So we'll see what happens, but I still think it's the third best roster in the playoffs right now, regardless of NL, AL, whatever. But they've already showed me something, and until they show me something different, I'm not gonna say that they're not this. That they come up short. We'll see if they're able to prove me wrong. I hope they prove me wrong, but otherwise, I still say you got to blow up some of that roster, get some youth in there, and see what happens.
Well, the way the roster composition is set up is they have 14 position players and 12 pitchers, despite the fact that they have their 1-0 advantage. You've already said, the question is, do you have enough to beat the Dodgers? I'll end it with that as we get going. And a few other things worth noting. that going into the series, the Phillies have defeated the Dodgers in 5 straight series. So those questions are all combined, Steven. So when I give you both those questions, I'll let you go ahead and collectively talk about both, and then I'll move it around a little bit and throw a couple more facts as we get ready to wrap it up in about 10 or 15 minutes. So collectively, what are your thoughts? I mean, you have 14, 12 position players versus you have 14 position players versus 12. So, Steven, overall, can they break through against the Dodgers? That's probably the best way to go ahead and summarize it.
They can. I mean, they showed it. Just we just seen them in LA a few weeks ago, and they look pretty good. But I don't know
Right.
what happens is when they comes to playoff baseball, these bats just disappear, man. They go over at the wrong time, and then playoffs are done by the time they can do anything to it. I think they're one of the worst teams, at swinging early in counts when they're wind up playing against a guy that's having terrible placement, having problems
Right.
finding the strike zone, and they're giving them strikeouts. So I think it's smarter going with more position players. As I said, I kind of felt that they're right where they should be pitching wise. With getting quality starters, you're even having Ranger Suarez, who just pitched, a few days ago. He's going to have availability out of the bullpen tonight. So they're going all in, and not sitting there saying that they don't just for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the hitting coach. I don't know if it's the actual guys that just this time of year their bats tend to disappear for whatever reason that is. Well, like I said, I hope they prove me wrong and knock LA out. Do they have the weapons to do it? Yes, they have the weapons to do it. Can they do it though?
Well, another fact worth noting is the Phillies are looking to avoid going down 0-2 at home for the first time since
Oof.
2007 NLDS. And if you think about what occurred in Game One, you saw Shohei Ohtani become the first pitcher and hitter to win a game, and he pitched 6 innings while fellow Japanese pitcher Rohi Sasaki helped as well during three to get a 3 inning save. So you have a Japanese gem there. That's why they're down 0-1. So that doesn't work in their favor. All right, Eddie, you've been patiently waiting on this. What are your thoughts?
Stephen, do you think the hitters are pressing too much? Do you think that's why they struggle during the postseason?
I think they've been doing that the last few off seasons. I'm not sure what they're doing exactly tonight, but from what I'm seeing from people at games, etc., that they're hacking too hard early in counts when you should be at this point in time. I'm not telling you should be taking and getting a called strike three with a bat on your shoulder, but you need to be at least to at the very least try to get into their bullpen a little bit faster by taking a few more pitches. I don't want to see any more 3 pitch strikeouts coming out of the Phillies side of the lineup card. The rest of this postseason, the rest of this run that they're going to be on over the next few years, because they still have some quality guys locked up, and I do think that they're going to continue to compete regardless of what they do or don't do this year. It's just the amount of strikeouts you see out of that lineup, especially over the last few postseasons, it leaves a lot to be desired. I love my boys. I want to see them do it. I want to see this team do it. I think a lot of the guys deserve that opportunity, but they got to show me, my friend.
All right,
Sounds to me
so
they should
Paul,
be chewing. It sounds to me they should be chewing on coca leaves instead of tobacco.
what was
I
that?
don't know that there's a lot of guys that do the tobacco chewing anymore. I think that died with Lenny Dykstra. I haven't seen that in almost 20 years. But they need to be doing something different. I mean,
They don't chew
anything
tobacco.
different at this point in time.
They don't chew tobacco.
Anything's better than what they've been giving us. Because you have a 3-0 lead game one, and then you wind up losing 5-3, and your bullpen blows it. It's a tough pill to swallow. You can't be giving up you can't be giving up late inning leads, especially in the postseason. You give up late inning leads, that's recipe for disaster. So, like I said, they have to do something different. It's been the same old excuses, the same type of patterns of behavior out of the same old suspects. I'm not sitting there saying it's Bryce or it's Kyle or it's Boom or Stott or this player or that. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. At this point in time, collectively as a whole, they've done this as a team with basically the same team over the last 2 years, done almost the same thing. So yeah, I would like to see them do anything to shoot cocoa leaves, drink pickle juice, do it all. I'd do something differently. Baseball players are the most superstitious creatures on this planet, so I'm sure they can come up with something.
Yep, no
Boy, you
doubt.
said a mouthful there, and I wasn't chewing tobacco in it. But that was good, Steven. Dave Dombrowski's done a shrewd job. He's built championship teams before, and he's certainly done a good job in Philadelphia.
I'm
I've
not
talked
saying
to
he
him many
hasn't. I
times.
still think he should have did more at the beginning of the offseason, though. Knowing that, as a team, you didn't really want to bring Nick Castellanos back, regardless of him being a fan favorite. A lot of people in this city like him. They would have been fine when you moved it on with him. To get ahead of the Kyle Schwarber thing, because we already know that he was our best home run hitter over the last few seasons, despite Bryce missing a big chunk of the last few seasons. There's a lot of things that Dave could have done better to set this team up for right now. I
Well,
still
but
think
then
the
you
Aaron
could.
Nola thing, that they should have traded Aaron Nola away. He is not. He's being paid as a top number one rotational starter, and he's your three. There's no doubt about it. He's your three. He shouldn't be getting paid one money to be your third starter. So
Well, all I'll
there's
say
a lot
about
of things that Dave done. Go ahead.
go ahead. All I'll say about Dave Dombrowski, his body of work over the years in Major League Baseball has been great. He's been connected to championships. Every person's going to second guess their general manager. You could have done this, you could have done that, done more. I get it. Bottom line is you have so many valid points, Stephen. You really, really do. Can you get more than one World Series title out of it? And don't think in a million years. And one thing that we talked about earlier in the show is, yeah, I've done a lot, but I need to get Bryce a ring. Okay, so don't think that doesn't hover over his head either, because he knows that. But we'll see what the body of work is. But right now, focusing on the present, we're talking about the Dodgers. If you don't get past the Dodgers, then everybody will be second guessing more when we do this in a week or two, anyways. But at the present time, they got themselves a hole to dig out, and we'll find out whether they can dig out of it, Dave Dombrowski or not. Put it this way: if he is with the Phillies, I have a feeling he'll be trying to get Major League Baseball in Nashville anyhow, because he's a part of that before he landed the Phillies job. So, Eddie, any thoughts about what we just talked about, the overall standpoint? Can they get out of it? Can they emerge?
I think it's only one game, so if the hitters can show a little more patience, don't hack at everything. The Phillies have the team, the talent to be able to get past, get back from being down 1-0. So I hope they do, because as a Yankee fan, I absolutely hate the Dodgers.
I think they're in the seventh, and they just jumped the 4-run inning on the Phillies right now. So they're about. They got to get that late running rally going. If not, they're going to go down 0-2.
Okay. All right, Paul, some closing thoughts on this topic, and then as we get ready to wrap this thing up, we'll let everybody know how they get a hold of each other.
I wanted
Go
to
ahead,
ask.
Paul.
I wanted to ask Steven, who's the Phillies' best player overall in terms of hitting and defense?
Well, see, just because you want to throw defense in, you have to take Kyle Schwarber out of that category because he's your DH now. So so Kyle Schwarber is now excluded just because we're adding defense into this equation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's none of the outfielders. Harrison Bader's been a great addition since he got here. He's platooning. The whole situation in the outfield is platoon. So then you have to look, infield pitching wise, right? You could very well make the argument, bad or no bat, that Zach Wheeler has been the best Phillies, the most consistent guy since we pulled him out of New York. Um, Obviously, Trey Turner's only been here 2 years. He hasn't made the impact that he should. You can make an argument for JT Realmuto just because of the simple fact that I've said it on here before. The pitcher catcher dynamic is the most underrated relationship in professional sports that we have today. A lot of people say quarterback and head coach for football. Show me a catcher that isn't top of the food chain that has a problem handling, you know, almost 10 different pitchers. You think about it. You could make the case for JT Realmuto right there as well, but when it all boils down to it, Bryce may not be the Golden Glove first baseman, but he was a damn good outfielder when he was in the outfield. And I think that you don't see a whole lot of balls getting passed by him because he's this average first baseman. I think he could potentially have Gold Glove type season being a first baseman from now if that's where he stays from now to the end of his career. And obviously, he's arguably the third best offensive outputter for the last 10 years in Major League Baseball. I mean, there's only who you put in front of him, Aaron Judge. Maybe we could have a discussion. Joey Votto through Bryce's first few years was a little bit better. So I would have to say, if you're really painting me in a corner, offense and defense, you have to say Bryce is the best person. But there's a couple guys that in the workings of what makes the best person on your team, there's a couple different candidates that people would have to throw in there, and I'll make mention that Zach Wheeler and JT Realmuto should be put in that conversation. If you're polling a lot of fans of Philadelphia right now, I guess they would be split on Kyle Schwarber and Bryce. But how you worded that with offense and defense, you have to give that some real thought.
No, I asked.
You don't really have Gold Glove guys. Was that?
Yeah. No, I asked that question because I ran a baseball team in Argentina in Buenos Aires for 10 years, and I would always say, I hope this guy shows up today. We had a game. We played one game a week, but you're like, I hope he shows up today. And I agree, your battery is so important. Your catcher pitcher relationship is fundamental. And it's one of the keys.
I think
to
it's
success.
the most underrated relationship in sports. When we talk about sports in general, not just which sport is better. When we're talking about relationships inside those sports, that's the thing that has to work. Catcher, pitcher, right? Yeah. For a team to be high level in professional of the sport. So you have a lot of that here. When you look at the NFL, it doesn't matter if we're talking about college pros, it's quarterback, head coach. It's always that relationship. Who tends to have the better relationships, who tends to win more championships. We talk about Chuck Noll and Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach and
Tom
the
Landry.
Warriors suit down there in Dallas, because I'm not going to give them any love. Tom Landry. I'll give Tom Landry love. So
you got to respect.
I mean, there's a special
hat.
relationship when it comes to that stuff. So it's you have to mention it, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know it pains him to talk about the Cowboys, doesn't it?
I think the pitcher-catcher relationship does get that head coach quarterback getting full.
Yeah, I know it pains me to talk about the Cowboys, doesn't it? That's okay. Except when you want to bash them, we give you plenty of opportunities to do it. But great show tonight by everybody, and I enjoyed this group. Really interesting. We talked about all kinds of different stuff. Obviously, the Phillies are the main thing, but it's pretty interesting talking about the Eagles and their approach down in Tampa Bay as well with the Saunas. Try to keep it real. Hey, we're going to bring the Argentine gringo on. Probably our goal is to always have you on at least once a month. How does that sound? get you in
Sure, that
tune with
sounds
sports.
great.
But, you know,
It's fun.
since this guy doesn't get a lot of sports, Steven and Eddie, we got to bring this guy back on more often here so we can give him what he doesn't have down in Argentina playing out there. But the one thing he did is he got my wife thinking about cocoa leaves. Oh my God, you open up Pandora's box there. Oh goodness. I'm telling you, unbelievable
It's a
stuff.
natural.
So,
It's a natural stimulant, and it's good for
yeah.
you.
Is it?
It's a natural stimulant, and it's good for you. And it's if God makes it, how can it be bad for you?
Well, everybody, if you're looking for a cocoa leaf lesson, Paul
As I was
Perry,
just talking about the Phillies, right?
unbelievable.
Since the playoffs right now, Schwarber's 0 for his last 20 right now.
Oh, is he really? Wow. Yeah, well, I guess he isn't Mr. October up to this point, but meanwhile, been a great show tonight. So what we're going to do now is going to let Paul, everybody know how they get a hold of you. We'll bring this group back in a few weeks, all right? So go out there and talk about the shows, get some followers out there to put the eyes on your
sure.
stuff.
For sure. Thank you, and thank you for inviting me.
Well, you're welcome. Pleasure to have you on. You'll be on once a month. Don't worry, we'll keep you in there. I got to have you on with
All right,
Rochelle, and we got to make you feel at home, even though you're down there and we're up here. Okay, go ahead, Paul. So tell them about your show.
Oh, well, yeah, I have a show. It's called Gringos in Buenos Aires. It's a podcast where I interview expats living in Buenos Aires. And we got it's really interesting because there's a lot of insight, a lot of interesting people, but a lot of interesting stories. So I invite everybody to check it out. Gringos in Buenos Aires. You can check it out on YouTube or on TikTok and Instagram. It's called Gringos in Buenos Aires Podcast. You can visit me on my YouTube channel, Paul Perry, Buenos Aires.
There you go. And you get used to your newest teammate here on The Professor and the People. I knew Paul was a natural when we got on there the first time, found him on Facebook, brought him on. He was on a hit, and he was coming back on. And now Eddie Prather's a regular member of the show that Steven and I brought back to life. So there you go, Eddie. Check this guy out down there. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and I want to thank you.
What's that?
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for this because, you know, I've always been a sports fan. I've always been a Philly fan. I mean, I grew up loving the Phillies. I grew up loving the Flyers, the Eagles, and even the Sixers. Although I'm a Knicks fan, I gotta admit, I'm not a Sixers fan. I'm a Knicks fan. Why, I don't know. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I can't.
Not everybody's perfect.
Yeah, blame.
Not everybody's perfect, man. Not everybody's perfect. I mean, I grew up. I watched Dr. J, but I don't know. I just lost it. I mean, Ewing. And that crew, I mean, I have, anyway. So yeah, but I want to thank you guys because now you inspired me to follow, you know, the sports that I love and the sports that I grew up with. So this has been really, it's been a pleasure actually.
Well, I want to say we'll keep you in tune every 3 or 4 weeks. Don't worry. Here's the thing: the Monday night show is more for Philadelphia because I have Mr. Philly Rice, who's got his head down there looking at something while I'm talking to him. Get that head up while I'm talking to you, Steven. The head up, boy. Now they all know what this guy looks like. Okay, he's really grinding. Now, if you're Candy Epling and you're getting me some information, then you can stick your head down there. Of course, but nevertheless, no. I like to be more partial toward Philly sports on Monday night because, let's face it, I got a guy like Steven who's supposed to Philadelphia, and he's really come a long way in helping us grow this platform. So this is something that we can do, and we do a lot of different things, whether it's boxing, whether it's all kinds of stuff. So we'll give it to you straight. We find something interesting, we do that as well. So, all right, Eddie, let everybody know they get hold of you. Well, one more station break coming up, and then we have the 108 Stitches baseball talk in about 20 minutes or so. Go ahead, Eddie.
I really don't have anything. I usually just use like for Facebook, I only use the messengers to keep up with people. So.
Well, now you have us every Monday night. How's that sound? Okay. You'll find Eddie Prather on Professor and the People. He's with us Monday night. Look for him. Steven, what's on your agenda? And I'm sure you are creating one as we speak, aren't you, Steven?
In the process of putting our agenda together, yeah, obviously, getting the computer situated, getting that stuff going. So get back to doing the regularly scheduling shows of the week. Obviously, we'll be back tomorrow night for Inside the Pigskin. I'm going to do Wednesday mornings with the fan of the end, myself, Ben. We're also going to have Marvin Powell on there as well. Another part of our growing list of contributors here on the channel. So looking forward to the stuff that we're going to be doing with Marvin and just having some fun. Talking about the sports world is what we're going to be doing, regardless if it's Monday through Sunday. We're gonna have some fun content here for you guys. So make sure you guys are locked in and having some fun. We're gonna keep bringing it here. Obviously, you can follow me. Just type in my name, Stephen Rochelle. Should be real easy to find me. Facebook, Instagram, and if you're on YouTube, X, and or TikTok, it should be Steve Sports Talk. Come on, should be really easy to find me. Other than that, you guys are locked in. We're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, Steven is my heir apparent, by the way. So if anything were to happen to me, Steven's definitely going to be one of the guys who count on carry over. It's no secret that I'm dealing with the onset of Alzheimer's disease. I feel pretty good now, but you always one of the things that's valuable to professor and people is when you have your people on every single week. He's always trying to figure out what I'm up to, and he's doing pretty well with it. So we just have to make sure that he gets to my book 1 through 200 and something. But I know the guy's got a lot on his plate, but he will at some point or another. He's going to one of these days surprise me and say, I learned something out of your book. And I'm waiting, but until he does, it doesn't matter, because I tell you one thing about this guy, I've learned as much from him as he's going to be learning from me about social media. And that's why he played the large role in what we're doing. Stephen, you're really appreciated around us here, and I think by now you've already figured out what you mean to us. And Paul, I got news for you, man. We're going to get you involved with sports one way or the other. You're coming out here on Monday night at least once a month or so, once every 3 or 4 weeks. So this is a group you're going to be working with, brother. Get used to it.
Cool. Like I said, it's a pleasure to be here. And it's really, I'm having a good time. So thank you.
All right, Katie, take us home the rest of the way to station break, and you close up the show.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganraw. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There is also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest, or you have show or topic ideas that you want us to cover, just email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Following this tonight is 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. Tomorrow night is Inside the Pigskin. And wait for it, Wednesday, a special edition show, a new series coming up. Check it out. I'm not going to give you more details. You got to tune in to find out. But then again, on Wednesday night, we have Sports Exchange. And then Thursday night, we have Fire Up. So make sure if you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Do it now. And then turn on the notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Scott, anything else you want to add?
No, it's been a great show tonight. Glad to have the group I have. Steven, as always, does a great job. Eddie, I'm telling you one thing. You've come a long way now. We're getting used to having you on Monday night. It's really great to have you on. And Paul, guess what? I'll make sure you have more topics in advance. You can figure it out.
You're stuck with us now, dude.
Yeah, there you go. That's it, man. You guys, we're all stuck together on Monday nights. Okay, of course, Paul's coming on more often. So down in Argentina, whether you know much about sports or not, Paul's going to get it. Paul Square, PP Square, will definitely make sure that he's going to be a little bit more in tune to what's going on. So, Paul, glad to have you back on again, and we're going to see you more often. Mark my word. It's always a pleasure. And, Eddie, what can I say about you? Keep up your great work in the chat room. And, Steven, God bless, brother. Keep up the great work all the way around, and we have a lot more work to do tomorrow. So that does it for this edition of President of People. On behalf of Stephen Reichel, Candy Ebling, our producer, Paul Perry, the Argentine gringo, and Eddie Prather, Eddie Brother. My name is Scott Morgan, Ross Florida City Manuel. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on 108.6 Baseball Talk. It'll shortly, and Stephen and I will see you tomorrow on Inside the Pigskin. Good night, everybody.